Can everybody see my presentation? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay, let me put it in presentation mode. How about now? Does that look good for everybody?
Looks great.
Okay, so my name is Lisa Fischler and I work at Hartnell College, which is in Salinas, California. My presentation is actually about, let me see if I can move the bar up. It is actually about how I and other people who work with me at the Panther Learning Labs, which is the tutoring center at all five of our campuses at Hartnell College, have actually incorporated Caring Campus, which is a campus-wide equity initiative, into our tutoring. If you could save the questions until later or put them in the chat so that Chelsea could get them, then that would be great. So before we get introduced to each other, what I'd like to do is briefly go over what Caring Campus is at the Chancellor's Office level. So the Institute for Evidence-Based Change, IEBC, which is an education-focused nonprofit, created Caring Campus, and it kind of had the goal of increasing student retention and success in community colleges, and tries to do that by giving faculty and staff better ways to intentionally include students and create caring environments so that students, as research has showed, and on which Caring Campus was based, that students are more likely to stay and persist across semesters and also achieve their academic goals when they feel a greater sense of belonging to their college. So in 2018, the California Community College Chancellor's Office used Caring Campus to support guided pathways and the vision for success at 18 colleges, and then another 18 colleges in 2020, and those were all community colleges. And then by 2023, 2024, Caring Campus was implemented at over 70 of California's community colleges, and I believe it also allows for 2/3 of the colleges to continue for the next 2 years. And I took all of that from IEBC's website. So let's get to know each other. Let me open up so I can see your faces. So I'd like to know in a word or two how you feel about your own campus's equity initiatives. So just open your mic and go ahead and say, it doesn't have to be Caring Campus, but any equity initiatives that you have on your own campus, how do you feel about them? Anybody? Introduce yourselves and let me know. Actually, I'm going to call, if she's here, I'm going to call on Cynthia because she's the librarian at our campus. And so maybe, Cynthia, could you start it off in terms of how you feel about Caring Campus? If she's around. No. Okay. I'd also like to know how have equity initiatives helped you in your courses, classes, or programs? And if you would like to share, that would be great. I see something in the chat. Let's see. Okay, so Lainey is very comprehensive. Anybody else want to put it? So Las Positas says Caring Campus, good. Okay, I feel inspired to try new things with students at the center. And Lisa says, I'm not in an environment where I can speak at the moment. Okay. I worry about the equity initiatives with rollback of DEI in Maricopa, but I think lots of people here share your concerns, Lisa. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on then, just given time. So at Hartnell, Caring Campus has 5 commitments. I believe these 5 commitments are campus-wide. There's the 10-foot rule, and I'll explain these in a minute. Name tags, cross-department awareness, warm referrals, and welcoming students. And to go into detail, so warm referrals are actually designed to ensure that students' needs are met and that the human relationships between faculty and staff and students are more than just transactional, that they're actually created intentionally to include students, to give them better access to services and resources on campus, and to make it so it's a safe space. And I think we've all know that that is a cornerstone of DEI. So what it means in practice is if a student needs a resource, calling ahead to an office so that the person at the office knows the student's coming, giving the student the name of the person that is expecting them, where that office is or program is, and then walking the student to the office if the faculty or staff can, providing with the map if they can't, and then most importantly, following up to make sure the student did get there. So it would actually mean engaging with the student, getting some information from the student, either their email and a phone number, so that that they got to the place they needed to get. And remember, this is across campus. This is not how we've implemented at the tutoring center. So the next is the 10-foot rule, and that's where a student or group of students is within 10 feet of you and seems looking like they're lost or needs help. Approach them, introduce yourself, tell them who you are, what you do on campus, obviously be positive, and make sure that you have the knowledge to be able to answer the students' questions, or if not, to be able to refer them to the right person, get them there, call ahead, walk them over, however you can to make it seem like you actually care and give the student a greater sense of belonging. Name tags are fairly clear, but wearing those, what it does is it helps reduce the kind of psychological distance that a lot of students at community colleges feel in approaching faculty, staff, or even other students who are student workers. And it is an invitation for someone to get to know you because you've got your name, and hopefully they're acting friendly, and it personalizes and also humanizes you for the student because they actually have a name and a face. Cross-department awareness, at least across campus, is maintaining a detailed update and up-to-date directories because it helps form referrals and it actually supports correct referrals. For example, do you know someone in financial aid who specializes working with veterans? It ensures that people who call into campus or who come into campus can find the resource or the person or people they need to speak with. And especially with our department, it eliminates being handed off. So for our dual enrollment system in Canvas, a lot of students come to the Panther Lab, the tutoring center, after having tried to talk to someone at admissions and records, the registrar, IT, and then there were semesters following the pandemic where we were getting all the students with these questions. And what really, really needed was a smooth path to actually refer them to IT, because that's where they needed to either reset their password, sign up for it if they changed phones to have the new phone registered. And so we actually ended up helping them, but they shouldn't have had to go to all those offices. And finally, the cross-department awareness helps people keep up to date on who has come on board and who they work for. Finally, welcoming students is actually creating a safe space, an inclusive environment, an accessible place where students can feel like they're welcomed and valued. And this is across semesters. So with that, I'd like to ask, I know one person said they had Caring Campus, but anybody else who has Caring Campus or another equity initiative and how its implementation has gone? Me get faces. Okay, got something in the chat. Okay, so Brad, your students do feel far more supported. Good. Okay, Lisa says she doesn't, but she's inspired to go do something from here.
I'm not sure if we have it.
Okay.
Irina, do you know if we have Caring Campus? I haven't heard it before.
Yeah, and this is open. Any other equity initiatives? Because I didn't assume anybody would have, because I didn't know who would come. So how do people feel more in general, how equity or DEI has been implemented across campus? I mean, has it been even? Has it been uneven? Have you seen improvement in your classes and courses and the students that you might advise? Or in your program, do you see more students feeling like they have it? So Okay, good. So the OER textbook initiative, and yes, that's helped us too. And Laura says she misunderstood, but she thought the DEI statement that you've seen via emails. Okay. And it went campus-wide with support from Brad. Okay, so there are people that do have campuses where they are initiating equity and trying to put it into practice.
I can speak a little bit about how we were using the online equity rubric for online teaching, equity in online teaching, and we had financial support to coach faculty in redesigning their classes using that rubric, and I think that definitely enhanced our instruction.
Okay. Yes, I agree that that is definitely something that we have tried as well. And as somebody else said, the OER zero cost textbook initiative, right? The open resources.
The problem is we lost funding, so we haven't been able to continue the same way we were before. For a few years when we had the grant,
Right.
we were able to really train a large number of people.
Right. And I think for colleges, when the funding does run out in 2 years, I don't know what's going to happen. So, all right. So let me tell you how we've implemented it in the tutoring center, which is probably why you all came to this talk. So let me try this. It didn't have any bumps in the road when I did this. We actually, when people apply for a position as a tutor, we actually send them the job description, and this is our job description, and we actually include what we've called the Caring Panther commitment. So we've reduced some of the verbiage that is cross-campus, and we've actually kind of tried to tailor it to our own needs. And basically, it's the customer service portion of the tutoring. So we say learn each department's function. So we're not asking the students to look in the directory, the student workers, the tutors to look in the directory. We actually want them to go and find out where these offices are and find out who's there and how they can get in touch with them, so that when students come in, and when they come in their door, obviously that's the 10-foot rule, right? Or if they're out in the hallway looking like they're lost, that in the ambassadors who man our front desk or the tutors who are walking around can see, and then direct the student, walk them, if it's in the B building where we are, walk them to the office, kind of walk them halfway, direct them, show them on the map. And so we put these into the job description so that students would be able to say when they came to interview that not only did they read the job functions and they understand how they're compensated, but they also understand these as customer service duties that they can commit to. And we actually take that very seriously. So I just put it here so people could see it in more detail. Any questions about this? Okay. So let me tell you how it actually has been put into our tutor training. So for the campus, the cross-department awareness, we actually implemented something called a campus resources scavenger hunt. So during the pandemic and when we have not had so many tutors that apply, like in the second semester and the spring semester, we've had this online. But more importantly, when we do this in person, we actually send the tutors in groups out to research where campus resources are. So we send them all over the B building to find out which officers are there, who they need to talk to if they're a student coming in. And then we also send them to the most likely places that students are going to need resources. For example, the library, IT, where the student center is, where student life is. And so admissions and records, which is downstairs, DSPS, so and counseling. So we have those, and then the students know, and they put together a brochure, which they then turn in for them, and then they will have that to keep and refer to. Based on new tutors' input and feedback after their first semester, we got comments that they felt like they didn't even know how to approach a student, how to introduce themselves, how to greet them. So what we did was we asked our experienced tutors, and this is in-person training, we asked them to design role plays that focused on starting with greeting the students, right? Welcoming the students, greeting them. That's for us how it would be. introducing themselves by pointing to their name tag, pointing out who they are, telling them a little bit about the lab briefly, and then most importantly, finding out what the student needs or the students need, right? Because that's at the front door. And so that is not only name tags and the resources, the cross-campus awareness for resources, and also welcoming this student. And then after that, making more referrals. So we actually varied the role plays that the experienced tutors did. And then what we did was we asked the new tutors to actually give feedback on the experienced tutors role play. What did they think that they did well? What did they think that they left out? What would they add? And this is, again, based just on having read the 5 tenets of the caring campus as we have interpreted them for our needs. So for us, it's both outward facing, going out into the campus, but it's also inward facing. So when you think about it, how do we get students to the right tutor? So the ambassadors and other tutors, how do they get them to the right resource within the lab, right? So this is inward facing, but nonetheless, it is still caring campus. How do they know which tutors are on duty during a specific day? How do they know who's called in sick? So that is the job, part of the job of caring campus as we put into the experienced tutors role play. So when the new tutors see it, then we ask them to give feedback, ask questions, and then we turn it over to them. You know, hands-on is always best. And so we have the new tutors in groups create scenarios that involve the tenets of caring campus and how they would solve those problems. We give them 2 prompts, but then we allow them to create their own scenarios. And then they put on role play and essentially practice caring campus. So we then give them feedback about, you know, what they could have done differently, what they did well, and then make sure that they understand, right? Sorry, that went back a couple. Sorry about that. So that's how we've implemented in tutor training. And so how do we carry it on when the tutors start working? Well, we have the new tutor shadow experience tutor. So I'm a supervisor at 2 of the 5 campuses labs. And so I paired when I did hiring and when I did scheduling, I tried to pair up, given when the classes were, tutors that could shadow experienced tutors in the same subject. So I have paired 2 English tutors and 2 computer science tutors that are able to shadow and actually were able to sit and work with the experienced tutors when they had a student either online or in person, because our tutors are both online and in person. We also have mentorship, semester-long mentorship, where we pair an experienced tutor with a new tutor in order to get help, questions beyond just a tutoring session, you know, payroll, timesheets, calling in sick, when problems come up, when they're stressed, when they have class commitments that precede tutoring because they're a student first. We also have the ambassadors collaborate with the students, and this helps both the ambassadors and the tutors. We have the ambassadors actually go around and make connections with the tutors, so they find out who's on shift. We also have a shift posted, and so the ambassadors actually work quite closely with the tutors in figuring out who's on for the day. And then we have recurring tutor meetings. So we have invited the different programs from campus and even outside speakers, but also the more importantly, the resources on campus. We've invited different programs to come and speak. We have role play so that they with different scenarios, so that depending on what's ever going on in the lab, if there's a particular, like if cliques are forming or if we're seeing diminishment in commitment to customer service, we have scenarios and we ask the tutors to solve the scenarios just in the same way we did when we did tutor training. So reinforcement. We also have check-in with supervisors like myself. There's 5 of us, and we actually have surveyed the tutors to figure out what's going on with them, how they feel about the service at the labs, and how we can improve. And then we also do, and this is part of DEI, we actually have the tutors do self-reflection and evaluation using this form. Let me put it, let's hope it clears. Sorry, it's going to take a little to load. Let me put it. You can see this is our summative evaluation. So that's, do the tutors feel that they always do it, often do it, sometimes do it, rarely, and never. We also allow for non-applicability because there's some things that don't apply to them. But you'll see in the first couple, always wears a name badge, greets students, and takes the initiative to approach them within 10 feet. Keep professional demeanor, walk around the lab and check in with students, provide assistance. That's the resources and maintaining contact with the student engagement, right? A welcoming environment, demonstrate resourcefulness. This is cross-campus awareness, right? How can they help the students' needs, meet the students' needs? And then establishing rapport, identifying student needs, and assessing times and constraints, all part of Caring Campus. So within the first two sections of their duties that they're reflecting on, we have them fill that out, and then we look it over, sign it. Again, it's summative. And then finally, we do have formal tutor evaluations because HR does have a form, and we've tried to adapt it in a way that also includes the Caring Campus, the 5 commitments. So what I'd like to do, I hope you'll be a little bit more talkative than you were, because my outcome for this was that people would compare their own experiences on their campus with what I've just shared. So I've kind of given some prompts for sharing, but you can share whatever you want. Give an example of an intentional inclusivity for a student that you've created or opened up, how you've helped students feel a sense of belonging to your college, and ways you'd use caring campus commitments if you had that on your campus. So let me open up the chat. Yes, I will. If you, I'll provide my email at the end, and as Chelsea, you said it would be available to them on the recording, so you'll have my email. If you email me, I'll be happy to send you the link, because this is in Canva, so you have to have the link. I'm glad somebody else would like to customize it for their future tutor trainings. I'm glad it has helped somebody, but anybody who'd like to share either verbally or in the chat, what your experience with Caring Campus or other equity initiatives have been, again, ways in which you've been intentionally inclusive for a student, how you've helped them feel a sense of belonging to your college, and ways that you'd use Caring Campus commitments. Obviously, Daniela, I see that you would be able to use it for your future tutor trainings, which is great. I'm glad somebody can use this. Chelsea, how much time do we have? Oh, we've got a lot of time.
We still have 20 minutes. Yeah.
20, okay. So we have Panther, which needs a lot with helps a lot with basic needs. Great. Yep, food, support, and housing. Basic needs, yep.
We have something similar at Laney College called the Eagle's Nest.
Mhm.
And yeah, they provide food and clothes, and they do little like events out on the quad once a month. It's a really sweet space.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I did. So Cynthia says, as a librarian at Hartnell, there are many opportunities for faculty to embrace DEIA for students. Caring Campus is given an opportunity for classified staff in a meaningful way. Our library techs take pride in being able to offer the warm outreach to students, gives them a sense of belonging to the work of the college. Yep, and I can attest that Cynthia and her other fellow librarians actually do provide a very warm environment for our students, and very helpful environment. Anybody else would like to share how you've helped students with accessibility, inclusivity, how to provide a safe space in a classroom? Irina.
Yes, so one way that we've actually, I co-teach personal growth and development, and one thing that we've done is we have actually a section about stereotype threat and challenging internalized oppression and identity, safety, and we actually talk about that in the classroom and talk about creating a safe space, and then also talk about where in their lives they've experienced stereotype threat, ways to combat that, and ways to challenge internalized oppression, kind of as part of the personal growth module.
Yep. Really, really important, right? And especially the part about the stereotype threat, which a lot of our students have issues with this, right? I mean, our students are 85% Latinx, so our campus is supremely attuned to this, right? And also meeting students where they are, asking their own experiences. I think that's really great. So I really like what you said, Irina. And Heather says, we know students face all sorts of insecurity, food, shelter, etc. We have added food and microwave and coffee into our tutoring centers. We welcome folks to break bread with us. I host a welcome reception and let students know that in my physical space, I always have food and information on resources. I let them know I'm here to help them inside and outside the classroom. Great. I send students information on these resources before they need them and not singling out folks, normalizing asking for help and using resources. Great. Yes. We also have lots of flyers and pamphlets and everything for help on resources. And we also have a pop-up pantry in most of our campuses. So where the students can just, there's a refrigerator, the students can just come and take snacks and food. Anybody else? We have plenty of time. Anybody else? Nobody wants to speak.
We have a pretty robust tutoring center now as well. And it's also, I think it's just in the past 5 years that they've really revamped it. It's in a new space than it was before. And it's a lot of the things that you're mentioning, they really strive to do. It's just a place where students feel safe to go. They have a lot of different kinds of events there, really friendly peer tutors. The tutoring coordinator has been really active in promoting the space. She asks instructors to hold office hours there, and quite a few of us do, which makes a big difference. So it's just kind of a hub and community and is really well utilized.
Yes, I agree. We have faculty who hold office hours at most of our tutoring centers. We also have 2 different conference rooms where student clubs can meet. Like we have the psychology club that meets for their events and to study. We have instructors who require visits to the tutoring center, but also we have groups that just come and hang out. And so while clicks among tutors is not good, clicks among students is actually good because they come in and sit, and we allow food, we allow drink. And so it is really just kind of like a hub. We have actually, I believe, my director said we hire the most student workers on campus. So clearly it's a popular place. And students, not just students who are failing, it's students who just come because they feel like it is a safe place. And definitely the level of conversation, noise level, we had to implement a quiet space and a noisy space because it does get quite noisy in the lab. Anybody else that would like to share? So Laura says, I had a conversation with an undocumented student about a plan in the event immigration who came to class. Okay. And
I
Heather said, we're gonna,
also,
go ahead.
oh, I was trying to speak earlier. I'm sorry. I also had a talk with the lab technicians at my campus because we're in a different type of community. I teach at another campus besides Laney, and it's not a sanctuary city. So I also verified how to hide the student in case we had to, or get an escape plan, and reassured the student that I would do everything in my power legally to obstruct any entry into my classroom. But I also have experience because I was a federal investigator for the United States Department of Health and Human Services and worked in civil rights for 20-some years.
Yeah. That's great. That can be very, very helpful. What we did was we had the tutor name tags. We have them double-sided. And what we did was we stuck the card that talks about their rights and what they can use if immigration does come, even though Monterey is a sanctuary city, what if immigration or ICE does come, right? So they have a card for them to actually what they can say and also what their rights are. So they can pull it out of their name tag and use it. So that's one of the ways. We also have a policy, but we at least have tried to personalize it to the tutors. Heather says, I organize activities in the care center to work on service projects, making scholars comfortable in a space and aware of the activities. Great. That is very inclusive. I like all these examples. Anybody else who'd like to share? Any questions for me? I'm going to just do the next slide, but obviously, sorry. So there's my contact information. Do you have any questions for me? Anybody who'd like to ask? Or continue sharing? Okay, well, Chelsea, I guess I'm going to wrap it up. I hoped that people would share more. I'm glad that you attended. Thank you for letting me present. And I look forward to your questions. And if you want the presentation again, feel free to email me once you see or have written down my email or see this in the recording. I'd be happy to send you the link. Anything else, Chelsea?
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much, Lisa, for the presentation. For everyone else, you'll be able to find this recording on the YouTube channel later, and I'm going to put a link to that in the chat right now so you can subscribe and then receive updates when we're able to upload all of the sessions. And then we also have our social media handles since we are present there. And thanks again, everybody. We have about 27 minutes before we begin our next session. So have a nice break and I'll see you then.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you, Lisa.